Hello everyone. I'm making this video to give a warning to players who are about to play constructed matches at a constructed tournament in the new Gothic meta. Something that I've already noticed since Gothic, in even just playing constructed games in a casual setting, that's motivated me to make this very short video just to give a heads up about something that I wanted to warn players about. Now, this won't be for some players who are a little bit more, I don't know, smart or something in a certain way or more organised at tournaments. So this is not for you, but for other players who might be a little bit more likely to make the same mistakes that I've noticed that I'm making in a constructed casual setting that I want to sort of communicate across to warn other players before they go into a tournament, which is something that I've learned. It's all about the new facet of sorcery in Gothic, which is collections. It's all about collections. If you have cards in your collection that aren't like the masks for the imposter, most, probably not even most, basically like all tournament organisers are going to require that players sleeve those cards in the same sleeve colours as your spell book if they're supposed they're magic or minions, etc., artifacts that would ordinarily be in your spell book, as well as like the same as your atlas cards if you have sites in your collection that you want to get with Ertz Platz instead of toolbox and silver bullet, etc., as well as like those sites that bring out the minions that you might have in your collection as well. Why do you have to have the same color sleeves on those cards in your collection? It's really quite simple. Like, even though they come from your collection into play in one way or another, they have to go into your cemetery. And sometimes, in the case of minions, they might go back into your spell book. Like, and this spell that I have here loaded on Curiosa is a good example, which is kind of interesting because this spell cast into exile is an example of one that will make you have to shuffle a minion of yours potentially, whether you cast it on your own minion, you cast it on an enemy minion, etc. One way or another, one player might have to shuffle their minion back into their spellbook, and that's one example of why you will need to have the same coloured sleeves on your cards from your collection. And then the rest of the time, they really do need to go into your cemetery, so which doesn't really like necessarily kind of super matter of the same colour sleeves at that juncture, because I can make a cast like a magic spell, say, from your collection again, or something like that. But like practically all organised tournaments, constructed tournaments in Sorcery Gothic will require you to have the same sleeve colours on cards from your collection. Now, what the problem that I noticed that this causes is it is really, really easy in between games to accidentally forget that you had cards in your cemetery from your collection and shuffle them into your spell book, which thus means that you do not go to your next game with your correct spell book, like you've submitted to your tournament organizer, no doubt, and this could get you disqualified or some sort of consequences or something like that. It happens really, really easily. Like, for example, you might have, like, say, berries or drowns in your collection, and you're so used to those being in your spell book in the metas before, Arthurian Legends and then Alpha and Beta before, that you can easily forget to not shuffle them into your spell book and instead put them back into your collection to reset from one game round to the next game round. It can happen so easily, and I just wanted to make this video to warn players about this before you go to a constructed tournament and make this mistake and then get the consequences that the tournament organisers have to do because you've essentially cheated by having a card that's not meant to be in there. And then it can be embarrassing if you need to access your collection and you expect to find one of your spells in there before you realise you actually shuffled it into your spell book. I mean, what do you do then? You can't search through your spell book without seeing your spell book without having to shuffle, which you're not supposed to just do without there being an actual reason to shuffle based on the game's mechanics. It can just get very, very messy. So that's why I made this video. I hope this helps anyone who hasn't sort of realised this yet before you play in a constructed tournament.